At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability, ASU isn't just ahead of the curve. It's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard, live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. We are absolutely loaded to the gills today. For those of you watching the show, you can see Pauly has his Winnipeg Jets jersey on today. I forgot to wear mine. That's my fault. I know. You have a plan. You sent a text like 3 days ago. I forgot about it. Thanks for the reminder.
Perfect timing, too. They win again with a shutout.
We have some incredible numbers on that team coming up today. A rant by an NBA coach last night, and I don't blame him after what happened coming up here in a little bit. And I know that this happened, almost 24 hours ago, but Vrabel is canned by the Titans. And some of the stuff that you're hearing coming out of Nashville now just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like the person in charge, the owner, basically saying that we had to get ahead of this and we need to identify a coach as soon as possible and potentially trading Mike Vrabel instead of firing him because of the rules in the NFL could have taken like an extra 3 weeks, which would have made it more difficult. It sounds to me like they don't really have that good of a plan in place, to be honest, and they just think that a good coach, an upgrade is going to be available. If they got ahead of who are they going to land? Are they going to land Jim Harbaugh or Bill Belichick? I say probably not, and so that tells me then you're going to go lateral at best, and it's probably going to be a downgrade from Mike Vrabel.
It's always a surprise, and this was a big one. That they move on, and I completely disagree. You could have got a draft pick for the guy.
Right.
Absolutely. He was the coach of the year a couple of years ago, and he's won a couple of playoff games. What always baffles me is you see these GMs who make a mistake, and then it doesn't work out with the coach, and then it's, well, what am I going to do? And because of the moves from the GM, it hurts the head coach and the roster, but then he tries to save his own ass, and then the coach, that didn't happen here, but it's happened before, but it leads me to this point. Once they traded A.J. Brown, you saw what happened to the offense and the team.
Yeah.
And then they gave Tannehill all that money.
And by the way,
they got old, and then Willis was a bust, couldn't play. Levis, we don't know, doesn't look good, though. He's a project. So between all that and the moves, and that's why the GM and here Vrabel gets let go, because of moving on from A.J. Brown and how bad this offense looked and the fact that they can only win 6 games this year.
Sure, and some whiffs on the defensive side of the ball in recent drafts, but then also some of their best players get injured. I mean, is that really Vrabel's fault? Rumblings out of Nashville suggesting that Vrabel was not happy the draft day a couple years ago when they made that move and traded A.J. Brown. Can you blame the guy? A.J. Brown's one of the best receivers in football.
Well, some people were taking shots at him, too, because it was like, well, you didn't stand on the table. Like, we'll get to Darko coming up. You didn't pound the table when that deal was close to happening. But I mean, okay, well, what's he supposed to do? I mean, I shouldn't have to do that. You say, I want to keep A.J. Brown. This would be a stupid trade. We need him for this team. And the rest is history. And now this also opens the door. Now, what happens in New England? Because you heard about the rumblings that apparently he'd be interested in the job. Why not? And now does this open the door for Kraft and Belichick out? And now Vrabel comes in too.
Yep. Next Titans head coach, Mike McDonald, 3-1. Belichick, 4-1. Sure, Belichick's going to leave the Patriots and then go to Tennessee.
Well, these odds, he's 4-1, 5-1 with every single team. He's the favorite at Atlanta. He's like the co-favorite with the Chargers. And come on.
Yep. Here is the Titans owner after making the move yesterday.
The last 2 seasons have been very disappointing, and the fans felt it. I felt it. We made changes last year, and I came to believe we needed to make a change to the coaching staff.
People want to know, when did you come to this decision?
It wasn't a last night or a month ago or whenever. It's just kind of been all season watching. And it was difficult, but I thought it was time to make that change.
the last 2 years trending in the wrong direction. How soon we forget. The guy was the 1 seed a couple of years ago in the AFC with Ryan Tannehill in an absolutely packed conference.
Yep.
This is what I'm talking about when you can't, these coaches, and he got 6 years. Clearly, Mike Vrabel is a really good coach in the NFL. He's going to be an upgrade somewhere, and one franchise is going to be super happy to get him. Like Harbaugh won a national title. How many times did we hear over the years, couldn't beat Ohio State, pandemic year, they were terrible, time to go. This guy's got, get rid of him, can't win here. Then playoffs, national championship. Like you give a guy enough time, the guy who is the right guy, and you should have known all along that Jim Harbaugh was the right guy in Michigan. Like Mike Vrabel was the right guy in Tennessee. He should be there for 15 years, but nope. We live in a world where coaches get this many years, and they're going to try to find the next guy who's going to be better, and I say good luck with that.
Well, yeah, good point. Not only the A.J. Brown train, but Tannehill fell off a cliff once they gave him all that money. Now, to go back to Vrabel and how he can design a game plan and keep a game close and play a defensive struggle, he won 2 playoff games where Tannehill didn't even throw for 150 yards. Yeah. Tannehill was awful in those playoff games. He went into Kansas City in that primetime game with Willis and almost beat Mahomes in that game. So your good point about being the 1 seed, and I think she's making a mistake here. And now we'll see what happens in Tennessee. And the big news was it opened the door in New England, and as they move on from Belichick, and does Vrabel just slide in there? How that could happen.
He's also, think about this. You want a sign of a really good coach? Mike Vrabel is 14-12 straight up when he's a dog of 4 points or more. Straight up. Think that guy can coach?
Yeah.
I mean, that is what that I think that's the best mark since he's been in the NFL by any coach in the entire league, and that would make a lot of sense. So overall, covering games, keeping his teams tight, like in games that they can potentially win, he's one of the best. That's a really good sign. They don't have the talent there like some of these other teams do in the AFC, but they always had a fighter's chance. And I don't know. They're going to get some hot shot coordinator who's never been proven before and never had a head coaching job. That's going to be an upgrade over Vrabel.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Yep, I'm with you.
There's also this from last night. The Lakers beat the Raptors in a high-scoring affair. There is a takeaway from this, from a betting takeaway, by the way, which we'll get to in a second. 133-132. Free throw attempts in the last 4 minutes. Lakers 19, Raptors 0. That's the largest shutout in free throw attempts over the final 4 minutes of regulation in any NBA game since November of 2010. You guessed it, LeBron James was with the Heat. They had a 19-0 advantage against Utah before they lost in overtime. What a tweet from OptaStats.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah. 24-3 in the fourth quarter. 36-13 for the game. Anthony Davis was 11 of 11 in the fourth quarter alone from the free throw line. Think they were important calls? Lakers won by a point. After the game, LeBron said, well, they fouled, we didn't. Okay. There was an offensive foul called on a charge when the Raptors lost their minds and couldn't believe it. 19-0 in the last 4 minutes. Impossible.
I can't.
Impossible.
It really is. Yeah. Think about that. And you pointed this out earlier. Maybe Vrabel wasn't standing on the table enough in Tennessee like this guy was last night, the Raptors head coach, after the game.
I think you shot with 23 free throws in that fourth quarter. What did you?
Thank you, Doug. That's outrageous. What happened tonight? This is completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees. Shame for the league to allow this. 23 free throws for them, and we get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter. Like how to play the game. I understand respect for all stars and all of that, but we have star players on our team as well. How's possible that Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force and trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls. He gets 2 free throws for a whole game. How's that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game. Just give them a win. But that was not fair tonight.
This went on for 90 seconds, and he's pounding the table. Darko Rakovic, head coach of the Raptors, and he's exactly right. I mean, we're going to the basket, too, not getting the calls. Barnes, hell of a player, having a phenomenal year, not getting the calls. They get every call. We get close to them. They blow the whistle. I can't believe it's happened before. But as you mentioned, also a LeBron James team in 2010.
So a couple things here. He better not get fined for that.
Yeah.
He probably will.
Probably 100,000.
That's a great rant. The league should not fine him because that cannot happen. That's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, the Lakers are going to say what they had to say. You can't have a 19-0 free throw disparity in 4 minutes of action. Come on.
Especially that team. If it's going to happen, it can't be that team.
Yeah. Here's the betting takeaway. Now, the Raptors play again tonight, so we're on very early. We don't know if they're going to sit players or not. But since that trade, when they sent OG Anunoby to the Knicks and they got Barrett and Quickly back, the Raptors have been a dead-over team. That game flew over the total last night. Again, the final score was 133 to 132. That's a lot of points. Obviously, it doesn't matter if that's the Pacers Bucks. That's a lot of points in an NBA game.
It opened 230.5, closed 238. In some spots.
So now, as we sit here, they're playing the Clippers tonight.
Yep.
Clippers also, other than that game against the Lakers the other night, they've been super potent. One of the best offensive teams in the league for a while now. That totals at 236, 235.5 tonight. If they had a day off, and we're sitting here talking about, they're not going to set anybody, I would be telling you I got to bet over 235.5 right now.
Yeah, well, they don't have any travel, so that helps out.
Very true.
But that's maybe they come out ticked off, ready to go, or maybe it's drown your sorrows and hit the clubs in L.A. Who knows? That remains to be seen. Good point, though. The Clippers are the hottest team in the NBA with what they've done and how Kawhi Leonard's been in a zone here for 3 weeks. And Doc Rivers yesterday said they have the most talent in the league. Hard to disagree. But that's a great point about what's going on with the totals. Also, see what the Knicks are doing. Another blowout win since they acquired OG.
You want to get nuts with the Knicks? How nuts would you want to get with the Knicks?
I think the Knicks have a better chance to knock off the Celtics than the 76ers as of now. That's how good the Knicks look.
They're, I believe, 6.5 back in their division. Yeah. They're 100-1.
Oh, wow. That is getting nuts.
Up next, win some, lose some. Former quarterback Chase Daniel watched every single game of a certain NFL quarterback, and he says he's more convinced than ever that he should be the quarterback of their future.
Last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
This is historic. This is so good. You had to honor the Winnipeg Jets today with the jersey. They beat Columbus yesterday and shut them out. They've held their opponent under their team total 10 in a row, 17 of 18. The one time it happened, Montreal did it in overtime, so it's 18 in a row in regulation and 24 of 26. This is not on my radar until Jonathan Davis updated this and was on this a couple weeks ago. They've recorded at least 1 point 13 games in a row. They're on a 17-1-2 run. They have the most points in hockey and tied for the most wins. You can still find 25-1 to win the cup. How about this? They haven't allowed more than 3 goals in a game since November 2nd. 30 games in a row, they've allowed 3 goals or fewer. It's the 6th longest streak in NHL history.
Yeah.
The Bruins had 44 in a row in the 20s. And the Minnesota Wild, 35 in a row, the 2014-2015 season. I can't believe this.
So that's the one team. Think about this for a second. That Wild team is the one team on the list. Again, consecutive games with 3 goals allowed or fewer going back. It's now 30 for the Jets. The other teams are from the 20s or from the 50s.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Right.
So the Wild, that team, and this Jets team are the 2 exceptions to that rule.
Yeah, some of these you can't count because the goal happens in overtime, which they used to have ties. So the other thing, when you go back and look at the resume and the schedule, they lost to Montreal, they lost to San Jose, and they lost to another bad team. I think Chicago got them. So this run that they're on, look at the losses. But a 17-1-2 run by the Winnipeg Jets in 30 in a row. 3 goals or fewer. Just play the opponent's team total under every game. The Oilers from $3.80 up to $5 on the road in Chicago. They won but didn't cover the puck line. 8 in a row for Edmonton. Florida's won 8 in a row. Seattle's won 7 in a row. The Jets have won 7 in a row. The Kings have lost 6 in a row. Lakers Raptors over 230.5 up to 238. 132, 131 Los Angeles. Told you it was too high. Memphis plus 370 on the money line. What was up with Dallas taking all that money? Dallas went from 4.5 to 10.5 in that game. Columbia Cornell over. 163.5 up to 169. 91.79. Nebraska plus 275 on the money line. Number 1 and number 2 lost to unranked teams.
Yeah, it's tough to win on the road in college basketball. Good call by Matt Humans yesterday on the Iowa State game. They won it outright. Houston only had one lead in the entire game. It was with like 3 minutes to go.
Oh, man.
I got to say, too, Fran Fraschilla is one of the best analysts in any sports, and he has been for a good decade. There was a spot late in that game last night where Iowa State goes to the zone for the first time all game long. Immediately, he goes, this happened on Saturday against Houston, and they shredded their opponent, absolutely destroyed him. We'll see how it goes tonight. He just knew everything, just top of his head, bing,
Very
bing,
good.
bing. Yep.
Okay, Notre Dame plus 230 beat Georgia Tech. Alabama, South Carolina under 157 down to 151.5. Easy, 74-47. And Western Michigan plus 1.5 went off a 2.5-point choice. They won and covered in overtime. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. How about the parent here, where they got the mom, the big dog, has got then the puppy on the back with the backpack.
Okay.
Look at look at this move.
The dog's got the backpack.
The dog
on.
has the backpack. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. And the owner is walking the dog, and then the puppy is on the backpack on the back of the dog.
Sure, why not?
With the puppy. That's a new one.
I wish the woman would have a backpack for the big dog,
Yes.
and then he'd have the backpack for the small dog.
Not bad. Andre, put that up later. Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. And this one. This is so good. The dog will not leave its brother's side. They're at the vet, and this guy's getting the IV, and he's laying down, and he's a little bit banged up, and you see the brother will not leave his side, and he's resting on his head and laying down. I got you, buddy. It's going to be okay. And I'm not leaving your side until you're okay, and I'm going to get you through this. That's a phenomenal video. That is awesome. Very good. How about 5'11"? The national championship game averaged 25 million viewers, the highest total in 4 seasons. You were disappointed with the game. Well, new blood and refreshing, no SEC, and people loved it with Washington against Michigan. The 3 highest rated college football games this year were all Michigan games.
Well, they have
Rose Bowl, that game, and Michigan, Ohio State.
They do have a massive backing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge fan base.
Yeah. Yep. Lose some. San Jose Sharks have now lost. They lost 11 in a row and 12 in a row. We're only halfway through the season, right? And the Mavs from 4.5 up to 10. I don't understand women. That's well documented. I mean, but look at this. This is at the Golden Globes. Look at this video. This is Dua Lipa. She can't even sit down with the dress. It's like, why even go through this? Where she tweets out, here's what I have to go through because of this dress I'm wearing, and she's got to come in, and it's like whole production for her to sit down. And the thing was 3 hours. I mean, how uncomfortable is that? And there's the video where this is what happens in order for her to sit down because of the dress.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, right. Why go through that? Why torture yourself? Right?
I'm the wrong. Yeah, exactly right.
All the shoes, the 30 kinds of shampoo, the purses. I don't get it. You know, it's like you can only use one. Well, the purse has to match the outfit.
Do you really want me to go on a rant here about what it's like? Okay.
Okay. And this is from our guy, Kevin Roth. It's going to be one of the coldest games in NFL history Saturday night in Kansas City. In the second half, it's going to feel like 18 below. The temperature, not 18, 18 below.
What it feels like in Las Vegas right now.
One bad beat. Our guy, Evan Abrams, who does a great job. In August, he gave out the New England Patriots to score the fewest points in the league. They were 30-1. They tied the Carolina Panthers. How bad is that?
They scored the exact same amount of points.
Yeah, 236, I believe. Oh. Well, obviously, Carolina got shut out in back-to-back games. How bad is that beat? The Patriots 30-1 because Carolina couldn't score.
So he gets
in
the
the
dead
last
heat
2
then.
games. So he gets the dead heat. Fewest points scored, dead heat, Carolina, New England. If you're looking for a betting edge through the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl, we have you covered at VSiN. Become a subscriber today. Get the betting splits Also, who has the hot hand with the network? Great dog videos. Your first 30 days, $9.99. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it now. Thank you.
Okay, you're going to get a kick out of this. Chase Daniel, former NFL quarterback, longtime backup in the league. Feels like he lingered around forever. He's turning into a film guy, evidently, breaking stuff down. I'm not going to tell you the name quite yet, but he watched every single game for this quarterback this season. And his conclusion was, this is Chase Daniel talking, this quarterback, and Daniel is more convinced than ever that he should be the future of this organization. He broke down a play from every game. It was like a 24-minute video. And he said at the very beginning of it, quote, his play on the field this year, for the most part, proved he's the franchise guy for this team moving forward. He's talking about Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears.
I can't believe he makes that comment. I mean, if you want to rip the OC, okay. But that is, when they fall behind, they're cooked. And if you watch the Sunday game against Green Bay, that's all you need to see and know. I mean, where's the threat in the passing attack? Mm-hmm. Where are the shots down the field? He's not accurate. I disagree with that. Now, the All-22 is, depends on what you want to look at and what you want to use as well. He played the position. Okay, he thinks that. I also thought it was fascinating what Dominique Foxworth said from ESPN, who played the game. He said he watched the All-22 and said it wasn't realistic to expect Penix and Washington. They haven't seen something like that before because Harbaugh and Michigan, their defense, which was the sophistication and the NFL-type coaching and just sending guys from all over the place, you just can't expect college kids to be ready for that and a quarterback to deal and expect. That's NFL-level stuff.
Sure.
What Michigan was doing in the title game. But I found that interesting. But, listen, you played the game, okay, but I have to disagree with his opinion because of who's out there. You're right, nothing's a slam dunk, but I have a chance to get Caleb Williams. I have to do it. He's $8 at DraftKings to be the first pick in the draft. I don't think the guy can play. I mean, how about having a winning record? How about that? So now you finally bring in weapons to get DJ Moore, and still, we were led by the defense. The defense turned it around since they made the Sweat trade, but he's not the guy. He's not the guy, and Lombardi's right. We can sit here and debate the Trevor Lawrence stuff. You cannot give this guy $40 million a year. Look what the Giants did to Danny Dimes. Is Fields better than Danny Dimes? Maybe, but I'm not giving the guy $40 million.
No, I know. What if Fields would agree to much lesser, a smaller contract than that?
I have to take Caleb Williams.
What if he would agree to a contract that's $20 million? I'm throwing out a number.
I have to take Caleb Williams.
Okay, no matter what?
Yes.
Yeah. I find this whole thing fascinating that Fields can't play according to you, and yet you got to bring up Trevor Lawrence too. You have to.
Yeah, it's fair.
He's
10 games under 500.
I'm sorry, terrible numbers.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be better than Andrew Luck from what we were told. Okay. Julian Edlow on the program next from DraftKings. We'll get his take on tonight's NBA card coming up here on VSiN.
Start your morning with a daily dose of winning strategies, insider tips, and the latest buzz with the free VSiN Daily newsletter. Get expert analysis and the latest odds delivered straight to your inbox. Absolutely free. VSiN.com/newsletter to subscribe.
All right, let's hit the NBA card tonight. It's a pretty solid schedule. Julian Edlow joins the program. He's with DraftKings, and his podcast is called The Unreasonable Odds Podcast. Julian, thanks for the time. Let's get into this matchup tonight between the T-Wolves and the Celtics. Again, they played earlier this season in Minnesota. It was a great game. It went to overtime. There was a lot of talk about that game afterwards, about how good defensively Minnesota was. That put me on some Timberwolves futures. They won that game, and Jaden McDaniels was awesome. Now we're getting reports that Minnesota, because of weather, they can't even get into your city, Boston, until, later on today? How are you looking at the point spread currently sitting at 7? Do you want to do anything with a quarter bet, half bet? Give us your thoughts here.
Yeah, well, can confirm the reports that the Wolves should not have been flying last night because it felt like my house was going to blow over in the middle of the night. So safe move by them. It sounds like they're going to get in, I think, 5, 6, 7 hours before tip. How will that mess up their routine coming off the second night of the back-to-back? I've had, when I go through kind of the NBA week by week, I've had this spot circled as a revenge spot for the Celtics. We know how good they are at home. They lost that OT game earlier in the year in Minnesota. Now, and the Celtics aren't off a back-to-back. They played and had kind of that tough loss, controversial loss, obviously, in Monday in Indy. So I thought they would kind of play all their guys and go all out for this. We'll see. Porzingis, Horford, and Holiday, questionable. Now, if two of them play, I'm probably fine. But a Porzingis or a Horford has to play against Minnesota. You got Gobert, you got Towns, a lot of size. I don't know if I can back him if it's like Luke Cornett starting at center. So that's the first thing to pay attention to. Second thing, obviously on the second night of a back-to-back, and now with these travel issues, who is Minnesota going to throw onto that injury report later in the day? And is the number going to sail in favor of the Celtics? So this is kind of a tough moving target in terms of when to bet it and how to bet it. I like betting the Celtics first half at home, whether it's team total or laying the number. Against an elite defensive team like Minnesota, I'll probably go away from the team total and lay a few points in the first half. I just want to make sure that the Celtics have one of their big guys in there and play it, hopefully before Minnesota's injury report comes out, because right now it's clean. It can only get worse for Minnesota and make the number longer. So long story short, let me make sure one of Porzingis and Horford is playing, lay it Celtics first half, and then hope for some injury news on Minnesota.
Yeah. This is a new one, getting in 6 hours before tip because of the weather. How about the Pelicans, who've been on fire other than the hiccup Friday at home against the Clippers? They were up 50 on the road at Sacramento the other night, and now they're taking on the Warriors, who are not only under 500, but 23 games they've played against teams with a losing record, and they're still under 500. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, perfect spot for the Pelicans. I played them just because I always play them against the Clippers. Didn't get there. I think that speaks more. We've talked about it plenty on this segment about how well the Clippers are playing right now, the elite of the elite. So New Orleans comes back. I passed on them on Sunday. I had some other plays going on. We all had plenty of NFL action and all the futures that we're watching. So I was like, I got plenty out there. I'll leave it alone. What do? They go to Sacramento, win the first half by 25 points. So lesson learned. I'm not passing on any more first half until this whole trend kind of plays out. New Orleans overall, 27-9-1 against the first half spread. They've been much better at home, but they're fine on the road. They're 12-5 against the first half spread on the road. And you mentioned all the Warriors' struggles, Pauly. We'll just tie it into first half. First half at home for the Warriors, 6-15 against the spread. Ooh. No Draymond, no Chris Paul. I'm going with New Orleans, whether Zion plays or not. He's questionable, but I'll just wait and see on him and then play the number.
Okay. How about the huge matchup in Detroit tonight? 5-30 San Antonio against 3-34 Detroit. They scored 47 points in the first quarter yesterday. We're up 20 on the Kings and got routed. They finished with 110 points, even though they had 47 after the first quarter. I mean, I don't know if they win 10 games.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit of FOMO from not getting in on these props if they're going to break the win total record or not in terms of fewest wins in an NBA season. If you want to be brave and lay some points with the Spurs on the road, go right ahead. I'm not going to play a side in this game, but I think the key to the game and the reason Detroit is going to be so awful and was so awful last night and will be so awful for the next 7 to 10 days, Cade Cunningham's out. That's the one stud that they have that can legitimately, carry a team. And with him out, all that production has to go somewhere. Cade Cunningham's averaging just shy of 23 points per game, 4 rebounds, over 7 assists. He has been solid. So what did that mean last night for the Pistons? That meant Jaden Ivey stepped up and played 33 minutes, 22 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. There's so much production that other guys are going to have to step up. Bogdanovich had 26 points. Killian Hayes did more. Alec Burks did more. But Ivey, I think, is the guy I'm going to focus on. We don't have props out yet on DK Sportsbook because of the back-to-back. We'll see if there's any rest news on the Pistons. But Ivey, I think, is the guy that makes the most sense. And I'll look at him on a points, rebounds, assist prop when it comes out, especially against that soft Spurs defense. Gives up so many points, such good pace.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Julian Edlow. He's with DraftKings and the Unreasonable Odds podcast. Okay, so another game tonight to look at. Oklahoma City is currently the best team against the spread in the NBA because the Magic lost last night. So now OKC vaulted them. They're 23-11-1 against the spread on the year. It doesn't really seem to matter where they play, but this number has now moved a full point. The opener was 3.5 last night. They're up to 4.5 at the Heat. I know you originally liked the Thunder. Do you still like it?
Yeah, I think 4.5 is probably about as far as I would go. I played it last night at 3.5. Miami against the spread at home, 6-10. You got no Jimmy Butler here. OKC, I think we've covered them plenty, but the best against the spread team in the NBA. They're just fine on the road, and they match up pretty well with just about anyone. Bam can give Chet Holmgren some problems, I'm sure, but the rest of that well-rounded OKC roster, and of course SGA is always just a massive problem for anyone. So not really a complicated handicap here. It's not a bad spot for either of these teams, so it's a pretty straight up game for both sides. And Miami's been a pretty good fade at home for a couple years now. So I'll lay it with OKC up to 4.5, probably as far as I would go, I would say.
Okay, what is your approach to some of these big favorites in college basketball for the rest of this week and maybe tying them in to an NFL playoff game that we have this weekend?
Yeah, both college and NBA. I had St. John's -6 on my card. They host Providence tonight. I looked back up and it was 7.5. So I don't know if you want to lay that or not. Just quickly on that game, St. John's is playing really well. It seems like they've turned a corner. They got a tough road win at Villanova, who, say what you want about the weird games in Philly that they've dropped, but they've beat some really good teams. Providence comes in, second road game in a row. They lost at Creighton. No Bryce Hopkins, their best player, done for the year with a torn ACL. That's slowly just going to catch up to them more and more. And they generally have a tough time on the road. So there's the argument for St. John's tonight. I will probably moneyline parlay them and tie them in with the Kansas City Chiefs. I did that last night with a couple college basketball favorites. I'll do it tonight with St. John's. I'll do it Thursday and Friday with whether it's college or NBA, some bigger favorites that you think are just too large to lay the points with, because I love Kansas City on Saturday night. I know we're doing an NBA segment, but I'm going to do some NFL here. Tua on the road in the cold. The Dolphins have lost 9 straight games under 40 degrees going back to 2017. The Dolphins are 1-5 straight up and against the spread against winning teams this season, with that one narrow win at home against the Cowboys, who are so awful against the road on the road on Christmas Eve. This just, I know Kansas City's offense has had some issues, but this feels like a buy low spot on them at home in a ridiculously cold weather game that I just cannot see Tua and the Dolphins pulling out. So I think it's fine laying 4. I played the money line at the opener, but with the weather, this could very well be a very low-scoring game. I'm interested in the under, and if it does get there, I don't want to be laying more than a field goal. So I think tying in a lot of these money lines, just to have Kansas City money line on Saturday night, would have me feeling pretty good about that one.
You can follow Julian on X. He's at Julian Edlow. His podcast is called the Unreasonable Odds Podcast. Get that wherever you listen to your podcast. Julian, thanks. Best of luck this week.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Good luck.
It's a fascinating handicap with that Celtics T-Wolves game tonight.
Yeah, I would punt on the game if I'm Minnesota. They were so good last night in Orlando, and now it's, you're getting in 6 hours before tip.
I know.
The other thing, Tom Habistro was excellent yesterday, pointing out SGA's his MVP, and the Embiid's not playing tonight. That's
Another one.
That's his 10th missed game. I mean, now you got to play 65 games now.
So he can miss 7 more. That's it for the whole year. Okie dokie.
Yep.
Best and worst NBA and college basketball teams ATS, and with totals next, 2 teams are hitting at a 90+% rate so far.
Wild Card Weekend is here. Props coming out of your ears. DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code VEGAS. It depends what state you live in, but they also have next coach odds up for several NFL teams. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, code VEGAS. The crown is yours.
I'm looking right now. They opened up Belichick and his next team. They opened up Chargers 2-1 yesterday. Patriots 3-1. Atlanta 5-1. Then the Commanders 6-1.
Where's he going? Where's he staying? I think he's going.
Where's he going to go then?
Washington. I think he's going to wind up in Washington. Vrabel will go to New England. Harbaugh to the Chargers.
If he goes
or
to
Raiders.
If he goes to Washington, does that mean the Commanders are trading up for the number 1 pick?
I don't know. It's good. Then he's going to take a lot.
Does he go to Washington? They trade up for Caleb Williams, and then he makes Josh McDaniels his OC again. Is that the play?
Where's Bieniemy going?
Probably not hanging around if that's the scenario that happens.
Damn.
Here are your best and worst teams in the NBA and college basketball, ATS, annual totals. OKC, they're in action again tonight. 23-11-1 on the year against the spread. Pauly, that is 67.7% on the year. Really good. The Magic got blown out against the Wolves last night. They dropped to number 2.
First quarter.
No kidding. They're still 25-12 ATS. Philadelphia is 23-12. The Rockets are the 4th best team, followed by the Pelicans and the Knicks. This is really cool. I know the Knicks played Portland last night. That game was over in the second quarter.
Yep.
They blew out the Blazers. They have an easy upcoming schedule. I think the schedule, they can navigate it quite well all the way through the All-Star break. The Celtics schedule is much more difficult in that same time frame. I took a little Knicks 100-1 to win their division.
All right.
What if they make another move?
Yep. Don't have. Who says they have to?
No, I know.
Great.
The worst teams in the association against the spread, and they are playing tonight. Atlanta is 8-27.
Now, how about this? San Antonio has interest in Murray.
Again.
What a move that would be. You trade him, get a haul, tank, get Wembanyama. You could get Murray, return for not even close to what you got for him.
Is it going to
trade up? You know what I'm saying? Make the trade, and what you have to give up isn't even close to what you got for him.
So they could then turn around and get him for pennies on the dollar, basically.
Because Atlanta has to move. You can't play Murray and Young at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a disaster defensively, and that's shown in the record and the ATS here.
That's 23% on the year ATS.
Santa Maria.
Oh, Phoenix, number 2 on the list, 13-23-1.
Yep.
The Pistons.
They get a pass. They get a pass. They haven't been healthy.
Yeah. Okay. Pistons 14-22-1. Hornets 14-20. Bucks 15-21-1 ATS. And the aforementioned Spurs are 15-20 against the spread. The best teams in the NBA with totals. We'll begin with overs here. Indiana remains number 1. They are 24-11-2 over.
Best offense in NBA history.
They're playing Washington tonight.
Yep.
The totals.
No Halliburton.
I know.
What is it?
253, I think, was the first number that I saw.
Okay.
So with Halliburton, it'd be a little bit higher than that. I don't know if I want to go over that number, though, without the guy in their first game.
The guy Ian sent the text. In his career, I think Stockton has 14 games, 15-plus assists, no turnovers. Halliburton's done it 4 times this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're the best team. The Pistons, number 2. They're 10 games over 500 over. They're 23-13-1. Atlanta's 22-13 over. Oklahoma City is 22-13. And Milwaukee is 23-14 to the over. The best under teams in the league, the Clippers. And they play the Raptors tonight. It's a total of 235.5 or 236. They are 21-14-1 to the under. Memphis is 22-15 to the under. Denver 22-16. And then you have Houston at 19-15-1 to the under. That's pretty much it for totals in the NBA. Here's where it gets good in college basketball. There are at least 6 teams hitting above 80% right now, ATS. We're talking 13, 15 games into the season. Minnesota's 14-1 against the spread. 93.3%. Cal State Northridge 12-1.
Under the radar. Yeah.
Southern Illinois 11-2-1. High Point 11-2-2. Troy 9-2-1. Arizona 12-3. Monmouth 11-3-1, and Baylor got the job done again last night. They are 10-3-1 against the spread. That was a little back and forth last night with BYU, but again, tough to win on the road in college basketball. The worst teams in college hoops against the spread. UTEP 2-10-1 on the year. Detroit, how about that? along with the NBA team, they're 3-14, the college team. They're missing the cover on average by 6.5 points per game. Pine Bluff, 2-9. Pacific, 3-12. Oh, the glory days of Pacific. Michael Olowokandi,
yeah,
25 years ago.
Yeah.
Old Dominion, 3-11. Idaho State, 3-10. Tennessee State, same record. And Middle Tennessee, 3-10 as well.
Guy was the number 1 pick in the draft?
Yeah.
Of course he was a Clipper, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
No chance.
Best teams with totals in college basketball. Pine Bluff, 9-1-1 to the over. Wofford, 10-2. Abilene Christian, 10-2-1. Northeastern, 12-3 over. USC, 12-3 to the over. And 3 teams are 11-3 to the over. Arkansas, Kentucky, and Bradley. And a bunch of other teams are hitting at least 75% to the over. Again, sample size here, about 13, 14, 15 games on the year. Your best teams to the under. Dartmouth, Pauly, 11-1 to the under.
Beautiful.
Staying under by 10.3 points per game. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 9-2 to the under. Providence, 12-3 to the under. Lafayette and SMU, 11-3 to the under. Jacksonville State is 10-3 to the under. Coppin State is 12-4 to the under, staying under an average by 10.7 points per game, and a bunch of other teams as well.
Coppin State?
Coppin State.
Yeah. Linda
Cohn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you picked South Carolina back in 1997.
One of the first times Mike Palm was on the air, he sat in and asked Linda Cohn, "What did you see when you picked Coppin State in the first round of your upset?"
And she's like,
the game was like 25 years ago.
Yeah, she's racking her brain like, wait, what? The 90s?
Did Meadow Soprano go to Dartmouth? Was that 25 years ago today? Sopranos debuted.
Was it Dartmouth?
I can't. Was it? I don't know. I thought so.
Columbia. Yeah, there you go. That
Thank
makes
you.
more sense.
Right.
Yeah. So you can get a lot of these numbers, by the way, at vsin.com, where you track the best teams in the NBA, NFL, and college basketball.
Hockey, number 1 in ROI, Vancouver, up almost 9 units. The Rangers, 670. St. Louis, 637. Winnipeg Jets, 627. Florida Panthers, 5 units. San Jose's lost 12 in a row. They also had an 11-game losing streak. As I mentioned, they're down 15 units. Minnesota, 8 and change. Ottawa and Columbus down 6 units and change. Winnipeg has played 6 straight unders in the first period and a 10-1 under. 10 of the last 11 have gone under in the first period. Ottawa, goal in the first 10. Yes, 15-2 run. Detroit, 16-3 run. Second period overs. Boston, 10 in a row. The Rangers, 17 of 18. The Kings, 12 of 13. VGK, 11-12. Third period overs. Detroit, 10 in a row. Ottawa, 12 of 13. Tampa Bay, 11 of 12. Minnesota, 10 of 11. And the Rangers, 11 of 13. Thanks to Jonathan Davis, Ian Duncan, and Chris Otto they track all this stuff. And they have spreadsheets, and they tweet it out all the time and do an excellent job. So there's always a lot going on with hockey.
Yeah. Again, Pauly's wearing his Winnipeg Jets jersey today. What were you told weeks ago? Maybe even there was a rogue number out in the Jets?
Before the season. Right. Before the season, guy said you get 50-1. It's a rogue number on the Jets to win the conference, but there's no chance of winning. And then it was a bad number, but I couldn't find anything close to that. So I passed on it, and now they have the best record in hockey.
Wow.
But it's what they're doing defensively is just the stuff that's mind-blowing here with 30 games in a row, allowed 3 goals or fewer, 6th longest in history. And again, they've held their opponent under their team total 18 in a row in regulation. 24 of 26.
That's pretty wild to play that kind of hockey for that long of a stretch.
Yeah.
Modern day. Again, second best. I mean, the Wild had 35 games, goals against 3 or fewer back in the 2014-2015 season. Other than that, the only other teams on the list were from the 20s or the 50s. I mean, that's
this is madness.
Yeah, it really is.
It is. And why can't they do it? I mean, they're going to say, well, you can't sustain this, and there's difference between this and playoff hockey. I want to see what Eddie Olczyk says about this, too. But, I mean, this is tied for the most wins. Vancouver, first place. Winnipeg, first place. Florida's hot. Boston's still playing well. San Jose's a mess. Rangers are good. I mean, here come the Devils. I mean, there's a lot going on right now.
I got to tell you, for what it's worth, that is a sharp-looking jersey.
It's a Bobby Hall retro.
Throwback,
yeah.
That's a really hot-looking jersey. Up next, he had some strong placement recommendations last week of the century. Who does Indy Jeff like this week? Find out next here on VSiN.